Yes, what's happening, everybody? This is Stephen Howson. This is Full Time Devils. Today I've got an awesome cast joining me. I'm joined by Shin. Hello. I'm joined by Scott, all the way from Sweden. Hello. And we are joined by Raheem, who's the first time on a debate. You'll have seen him from the fan cam. So, Raheem, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for having me.
Right then, this is the huge Jose Mourinho debate. This is a man that divided Manchester United fan opinion before he came, and arguably is dividing it even more now he's here. So we are going to get stuck into it. These lads are going to tell you what they think about Jose Mourinho, but we also want to know what you guys think as well. So get your comments in a little bit later in the show. I'm going to come to you guys and read out some of the best comments that we've been getting. But first things first, what we're going to talk about is what matters in football, and that is on the pitch. John, I'm going to come to you first. Talk to me about Jose Mourinho on the pitch. What is he doing on the pitch? Is there progress? Are you happy with what you see on the pitch? All of that sort of stuff. Talk to me. Take it away.
I think Jose Mourinho's performances on the pitch is what you would like to call the Manchester United paradox, in the sense that we're getting results, we're getting the points that we need, and we're showing progress on a statistical sort of numerical level. But granted, what you're seeing on the pitch itself in terms of the performance is not that great. I mean, when you look at other managers across the pitch or across towns, you see other managers of not top quality, but of high quality, showing determination, bold, sort of more adventurous approach when it comes to their football. And granted, they're not producing results like us, considering the fact that the only person doing that right now is Pep Guardiola, and they're playing fantastic football and grinding out results. We're currently sitting second, so it's from a Premier League, from a progressive standpoint, we don't look to be far off. If anything, we're making progress in that respect. But on performance, we aren't looking good at all. We play lethargic footballs at times. Sometimes we like to sort of drive the game not to their feet in terms of wanting to push and try and harass them and play to our strengths, but we almost look to nullify opposition's strengths itself, and that sort of negative style isn't showing any sort of positivity at all to fans, and I think that's what's really giving us a hard time to sort of grasp as fans. I mean, Manchester United fans always, throughout the times, of course, we've seen dry spells here and there under Sir Alex Ferguson, but for the most part, during our glorious years and during the years, you know, even as of late, before Sir Alex Ferguson retired, we only recently lost Robin van Persie and likes of Dimitar Berbatov and all those kind of fantastic players that showed us the flair, showed us the desire to go forward. We always bombed players forward, and that kind of gut-busting approach isn't here under Jose Mourinho, and that's that paradox that fans seem to be debating, and that approach on the pitch needs to improve, I think.
Scott, where do you stand? What do you think United are doing on the pitch at the moment? Are you happy with how we look on the pitch?
I mean, we haven't played well for 10 years, since 2009, I would say. And that's when we had Ronaldo. So this thing about us playing the Fergie way or the United way, I've not seen it for 10 years. As for Jose's win percentage, I think is higher than every manager we've ever had. So I just want to make a note really as well, is the players are a lot younger. When you compare them to Fergie's great side, the '94 team, the treble side, and the 2008 side, overall they were a lot younger than they are now. And I honestly think it's just the defence. I think we have, probably the worst set of defenders I've seen in a long time. And when Jose's been successful, I mean, he's had players like Lucio, he's had players like Ramos, John Terry. We have Chris Smalling, and we have, Ashley Young at left back. So. I honestly think next year's his final season. I think if he addresses the defensive issue, I think we'll be a far better side than we are this year, and I think we'll generally challenge next year. So, is progress, is it good enough for everybody? Well, take it away, Raheem.
Go on, Raheem. Let's see what you got to say.
I have to agree with both of you. This season, look, we're second. Good. We're in the semi-final FA Cup. Good. So that's positives. Better than last year. So there's clearly... Look, I think we can all agree I'd rather have Mourinho than Van Gaal than David Moyes. That's a fact. There's progress, but the progress is slow. I'm going to be honest, it's slow. The football... Look, when we got Jose, I knew we were not going to play pretty football. I think we all knew. Anyone who thought he would change is just fooling themselves. But I accepted the Mourinho type football if it gave us proper success. and I don't mean success as second place with 16 points Man City. I don't mean success as getting out of the group stage and getting knocked out by Sevilla. I don't see success as going to the quarterfinals of the Capital One Cup and getting knocked out by Bristol City. That's why I was not going to accept. But it's football, so I was going to accept that. But honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. The signings, I'm so disappointed in this man. I am so disappointed. He's only made 8 signings. 8 signings in 2 seasons. We still have Ashley Young, like you said, at left back, and he gave him a new contract. Are you mad? Are you mad? This man is a 33-year-old winger, and you're putting him at left back. You have the largest bank account in world football, and you want to give a 33-year-old winger at left back. We still have a Valencia at right back. No disrespect, Villa. You're not a right back. You're not a right back. Honestly, when it comes to this season, look, if we win the FA Cup and get second, I'm going to be honest with you. I'll say it's what, a 7 out of 10. He passed. You got a trophy and you got high. I have to give him that. But honestly, if we had to look at the scheme of things, the bigger picture, it's been an okay season. And considering that you spent considering that you spent 250 mil, I was expecting more. I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting more.
I think we all expected more. Do you think there's an element of we're looking at the figures spent rather than the number of players bought? Because I think that what Guardiola's done is he's bought a lot of players that are in the 30-40 million pound bracket, where we seem to be spending twice as much on players. And I wonder if there's the commercial element of the club that's happy to sanction those big signings because they're going to bring in commercial benefit for the club, versus the signings like Bailly and Lindelof, who might be really good signings, but they're not really going to sell any shirts. So the Glazers and the club maybe are a bit more reluctant to buy those. Do you think that's the sort of signing we need, Raheem? Do you think that's the sort of players that Mourinho's got to get in this summer?
We need, Howson, we need depth. We got no defence. We need depth in the midfield. When it comes to the attack, I think we're okay. I personally think now that Ibra is going, I think we need one more to replace him. But honestly, Howson, we need to focus on depth and quality, not name and shirt sales. We don't need that. We're Manchester United. We don't need any more publicity. We're the biggest club in the world, in my opinion. I know.
No, I don't think we do need that. I'm just saying. My question to you is: do you think that the Glazers are happy to sign off on the bigger deals because that money's going to come back, versus the still very expensive 30-40 million pound players that aren't going to sell shirts? Is that why we didn't bring in Perisic in the summer, perhaps?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how to answer that. When I see the Glazers, I see the Glazers as money first. So I guess money comes first, obviously. However, I don't know. It's not about the club. I think they also need the United that is succeeding, winning. I think they also love the money. But if we're not winning as much, doesn't that what shine away from our glory? Doesn't that take away from the, I don't know how to say it really. I think we need both. I think they want the money, but they also need, Man United as looking as we are winning things. So you can, we need trophies and the money. That's what I think. My personal opinion. But
right, we're going to talk about off the pitch
stuff
because we've just started
the pitch.
Weeding into there a little bit. So Jose's given some really interesting press conferences in recent weeks. There was always this circus that sort of attracts Jose Mourinho. We've seen it with the eye poke sort of stuff that happened at Madrid. We've seen it with the Eva Canero thing that happened at Chelsea. John, where do you stand on what Jose's been doing off the pitch? What do you think about his... We'll get into the connection with fans later, but let's just talk about pure off the pitch antics with Jose Mourinho. Happy with them? Not happy with them? Talk to me.
I think in my personal opinion, I feel a little bit more disturbed about Jose Mourinho's appearances off the pitch as opposed to being on it. And what I mean by that is Jose Mourinho, like Raheem mentioned, Jose Mourinho is the perfect fit for Manchester United in the sense that we both are the biggest names in football, in world football. Manchester United is one of, if not biggest name in football. Jose Mourinho is one of the, if not biggest name in football when it comes to PR, when it comes to publicity. You add those two names on an article, you're gonna get clicks. So journalists would like to rather have both names on the same paper to drive that metadata, to drive the clicks as much as possible. And for Jose Mourinho to be out here, to be making very questionable negative comments, it's a bit of a difficult thing to swallow, especially for fans. And we had this conversation last week about Jose Mourinho's comments with respect to Sevilla and how he had experience knocking out Manchester United twice with other clubs. And that kind of comment and that kind of sort of display of publicity is very obvious for those with a keen eye, in the sense that Jose Mourinho is obviously doing his best to try and deflect attention away from his players and try to protect them, or try to protect himself and his ego. Whichever it may be, I don't care if it's trying to protect players or his personal self. You just cannot say that. And there's these sort of dark sides to Jose Mourinho that really irk me, and it's just kind of disturbing, especially when everything feels magnified because you're at Manchester United. When you're at Chelsea, when you're at Porto, when you're at Inter, no disrespect to any of these clubs, but they don't have the magnitude and the power on a public level, on a publicity level, like Manchester United. And to have somebody like Jose Mourinho, who is one of the best at driving attention away or towards people, like that kind of stuff is extremely risky. And I think Jose Mourinho needs to sort of work out how to handle that, because he's not at any other clubs. He's at Manchester United, and that kind of stuff needs to be improved.
Scott, I know you had a bit of an issue last week with some of the things that he said post-Sevilla and his rant ahead of the Brighton fixture. What's your thoughts on Jose Mourinho's off-the-pitch antics?
It's nothing new. I mean, we lived through it with Sir Alex Ferguson. I've said it before. It's like history's been rewritten. Like, I've had people say that Sir Alex Ferguson never criticised his players. Well, just look on YouTube. There's an Aberdeen, when Aberdeen won the Scottish Cup. Just see what he says about that team that won the Scottish Cup. He's called them a disgrace. He's slagged off Ince in the past. He slagged off Keane in the past. He said that Whiteside and McGrath, the reason why he got rid of him, because of what they like to drink. So we can't turn around and say these things. And as for his comments about Sevilla, what didn't we like the truth? Does the truth really hurt? I mean, we didn't obviously come to the defence of Antonio Conte when he said the truth about him. We all laughed and we all giggled, but the minute he turned around to us and
made a song about it, allegedly.
Yeah, exactly. So, there's just a few things where I just see where I go, guys, we've lived through this before, and like I said, we're rewriting history. Sir Alex Ferguson, didn't he do a thing with, if you listen to Lee Sharp speak, he went round to his house. There was one thing where him and Giggs were going out and he goes round to his house. Other things were having spies around the city centre, telling him where their players were going out or not. If you behave like that today, you get called Putin or something like that. You couldn't get away with that today. So let's just take it as facts. It's Jose Mourinho. He'll always say what he thinks is, and just deal with it. Just deal with it.
He made Lee Sharp get rid of his dog, right? We've got a player with a very famous dog, or pair of dogs, at the moment. Can you imagine Jose Mourinho saying to Alexis Sanchez, listen, them performances aren't good enough, you need to get rid of your dogs, right? That's literally what Fergie did. Get rid of your bird, get rid of your car, get rid of your new house, you're moving back into digs, and get rid of your dog. That's literally what Fergie did. But Jose Mourinho's bullying Luke Shaw because he wouldn't play him. Right, Raheem, talk to me about the off-pitch antics, the press conferences. What did you make of those?
I'm not surprised. It's the special one. That's his style. However, the comments of Sevilla was a disrespect to every fan. I don't know where I knocked you out with Real Madrid in Porto has anything to do with you getting knocked out by Sevilla. I don't know why you have to rub salt in the room, but okay. That was too far. Honestly, when it comes to him criticising the players, I don't mind. If some of them do deserve to be criticised, and rightfully so. I don't know why he's bullying Luke Shaw though. He hasn't done anything wrong. It's not our fault. It's not his fault we're playing bad football. He's doing his best. Honestly, when it comes to the off-field antics, I don't remember that Lee Sharp dog. That's a new one for me. That's a new one for me. I didn't hear that one. But honestly, I think that's because Fergie was how can I use the Godfather? He could do whatever he wanted. Mourinho hasn't earned that right yet. I don't think he ever will. Besides, I don't think anyone has a right to tell another person what he can do with his dog. What's that picture? What's that?
Dave.
Oh, Dave. It is. Honestly, when it comes to the on-field antics, it's typical Mourinho. I'm not surprised, and honestly, if the results on the pitch were better, I wouldn't really care. But since it's 50-50, I suppose this is the big news of it. So honestly, I just ignore it right now. I'm just ignoring it right now.
I think the stuff that he said post Sevilla was bangers. There's a time and a place. Everyone's upset after the defeat against Sevilla. People are very angry at the performance against Sevilla. And to come out and it felt like he was bragging that he's knocked United out. And I think that's the wrong sort of connections. And I said, don't alienate the fans. We're the ones that are going to make or break you. We're the ones that support that team. Don't alienate the fans by talking up yourself. It felt like he was advertising for a new job somewhere. Listen, I've still got it. I've knocked United out before in the past. We don't care, mate. You need to come out. You need to apologise for that performance. You need to berate the players publicly. If he wanted to deflect attention and have people talking about something else, call UEFA corrupt. Say City are drug cheats. Say something along those lines. Don't come out and say, allegedly, don't come out and say that United have been knocked out before, so deal with it. That was the wrong thing to do, I thought, from Jose. The one prior to Brighton, I thought was absolutely bang on. And I think the point he was trying to make is, it's not heritage. Heritage is probably just a mistranslation from Portuguese. But he's saying that the recent form, the recent years of Manchester United, the highest we've been in the Champions League, or the furthest we've been in the Champions League, is quarter-final stage. The highest we've been in the table since Sir Alex Ferguson is fourth. So and the lowest that Manchester City have finished is fourth. So they didn't take over two sides that you can compare apples and apples with. City was a lot further ahead than us. The best players for City at the moment are players that have been there years, whereas the one that we can compare to that is probably David De Gea. Right, I'm going to go to a quick ad break and then I've got some comments from you guys. So let's see what that ad break looks like. And there we go, go and get some of that stuff. Right, so Delay No More says, Jose needs to update his style of play. Football is an evolving game. I would agree on that. I think one of the criticisms you can give Jose Mourinho that you can't really compare with him and Fergie is because Fergie was so secure in his job, he constantly refreshed his assistant coaches and his tactical coaches and stuff, always bringing in the best he could find. I think Jose finds comfort in travelling around with the same team for the last 20 years. And I think because he's kept that same team around him and he trusts that team, they probably have gone a little bit stale, and I think he probably could do with a refresh. Someone like a new, young version of Rennie Mullenstein would probably be real benefit for him. Harry Burns says, I'd rather lose playing well. Harry, I'm going to call you a liar.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well done. Yes.
Do you guys agree? Let me know in the comments. Would you rather lose playing well? No, I absolutely wouldn't.
No.
One of the worst games United ever played was the 1999 Champions League final. What happened at the end? Thank you very much. Masood says, fans think this is progress, needs to follow another sport. Well, it is progress. Last year we came sixth. This year we are second. Jose Mourinho this year is the first manager post Sir Alex Ferguson to record 20 league wins in the league. So that's literally progress, mate. So we're happy about it, but it is progress. Mike Redmond says that Raheem fella knows how it is. Andrew Tate, hello Andy, says, this kills me to say it, but Jose needs a look at himself. And El Greco says, Howson, we got to roll with it. We've got to take our time with Mourinho. United can't let anyone get in our way, especially the fans. I think if there was a vision that we could all see was going somewhere, but it doesn't feel like there's a vision at the moment, does it? And I think the last one, no, I've got a couple more. Football Stuff says Jose needs to invest in more defenders. Someone like Varane would be ideal. Definitely, I think we all agree the defence needs a bit of an overhaul. And Matteo says the Glazers didn't invest properly 2009 to 2014-15, and it shows. I think that is an absolutely banging point. Fergie left a team on paper that looked pretty good, but in the reality, the whole back five was virtually finished. And it needed investment in the midfield from there and then. So I would absolutely agree with most of those comments. Right, the next thing we're going to talk about then is relationships. So we've seen Mourinho fall out with players. We've seen him fall out with clubs and owners in the past. What do you think about the current relationship that he has with the players and the way that it's being portrayed in the press? John, talk to me. What's your thoughts on the way things are going with Shaw, Daley Blind, Pogba, all of these sorts of things? Let me know.
I think the relationship that Jose Mourinho has with players in general is probably the most intricate, if not the most mad genius move from Jose Mourinho. And I hate to keep bringing things up like the Sevilla event, but if we look at it from a sort of pro Jose Mourinho angle and say that Jose Mourinho comments and his antics are for the sake of protecting his players, you can understand why throughout the generation there's been so many players that calls him the father figure. I mean, you've seen from time and time again players like Frank Lampard, players like John Terry, even all these kinds of pundits that played. You've seen all these pro Jose Mourinho players come out into the come out into TV and say, he's a father figure. It's if you look at it from a scale, they're very pro Jose Mourinho in the sense that they treat him literally as a dad, and that kind of shows that perhaps behind the scenes, perhaps behind the dressing room, to those players that deserve the love and deserve the protection and deserve the care because Jose Mourinho genuinely believes that they are quality players, he gives them that. And I think that's the reason as to why Jose Mourinho has so many people who either love him to death or hate him to death. And that sort of approach is very intricate. It's very complex. And the relationship that he has with his current Manchester United players, as much as I hate to say it on this side, I have to give it to Jose Mourinho to a certain level of approach. The way he handles the likes of Martial and Mkhitaryan prior to their sort of ascendance in form. He was roasting them and he was grilling them in public, and that sort of approach is what is needed. I mean, like you said, you mentioned Sir Alex Ferguson telling players to get rid of their dogs and cats and wives and birds and shit. I mean, that kind of stuff is a lot harder.
Cats or birds, John? Where you put that from? Maniacs.
Okay, my point is, Sir Alex Ferguson back in the days would be able to do that because those were the olden days. Nowadays, with all this different stuff and different money and contracts and all this other jazz involved, that kind of stuff is harder. Jose Mourinho can't walk into the house of Alexis Sanchez and said get rid of Adam and Humber. That's impossible. That kind of stuff cannot happen. But at the same time, Jose Mourinho is using a different level of tactic to get to these players. And I think by calling them out in public is a good way to give them a little wake-up call, especially when social media and people and players like these days looking through digitally, looking through electronics and things like that. Now, just want to wrap things up. Things that he says to players like Luke Shaw, I think it's a bit of a harsh approach. I think there could have been better ways to address it. I don't agree with the way that he's constantly been picking on Luke Shaw, especially when he's had a little bit more of an unfortunate situation. But if the situations with respect to Luke Shaw not showing poor attitude is true, then of course he deserves it, which nobody knows. But at the same time, I think he can handle relationships better with the current players. But if by all means, behind the scenes, players like Daley Blind, players like Matteo Darmian, players like Luke Shaw, if these players are not performing day in, day out on the training pitch, then we as fans can't really say nothing besides the fact that Jose Mourinho is doing the right thing.
Scott, how much of what we think we're seeing in terms of this relationship with the players is media perception and actual Jose sort of interaction with the players? Like John said, we see a lot of him talking publicly, but when we're hiding in the bush with bush camp, there's all smiles and it's laughing and joking. It looks very relaxed on a training ground.
I mean, we live in a world of 24/7 media, and we are the only club that matters. Let's be fair. We get scrutinised. I think the other day was it Darren Gibson got done for drink driving, and it was ex-Man United player. That just speaks volumes. Listen, all a player has to do when he comes is eat healthily, stay fit, and give 100% when you're playing for the club. That's it. People who come to Old Trafford, it's not only just what you do with the ball. You have to have that mentality of a winner to make it at this club because it's huge. And players like Martial, he plays well 1 in 4 games. 1 in 4 games. It's not good enough. Pogba, people talk about we play him out of position. What midfield? That's his position. And as for Luke Shaw, I mean, I put this up because we said that we're bullying him. Let's just say, what he actually said. Luke in the first half, every time they went in his corridor, the cross was coming. The cross was coming, the situation was coming, so I was not happy with his performance. Is that bullying? When I got bullied, I wish they would have just said that to me and then gave me 150k a week. It's not. It's just, let's be honest. I mean, when I saw Luke Shaw, the first thing I thought was, mate, you've put on weight again. And he did. He looked huge. So let's be honest. I mean, players that adore him is because they work hard and they try hard, and that's why he sticks with them. That's why he's loyal to them. If you don't do that, then you're going to be on the bench, and clearly that's the problem.
I don't agree. that is bullying with Luke Shaw. I think he's not picking him, and the reasons for that might or might not be correct. We don't know because we're not in training observing his attitude and his work rate and this, that, and the other. I don't think he's tripping him up on the way into training and taking his lunch money. I don't think that's happening. I think he's just doesn't fancy him, is the top and bottom of it.
Just a quick one as well. Didn't Luke Shaw's brother slag Jose off on Twitter?
I don't know.
There's a lot of these things where you just go, oh, mate, really? Come on. Like I said, just turn up, eat healthily, and do, these guys can afford psychologists, they can afford,
That's because Luke Shaw's family is all Chelsea fans, that's why.
Probably.
Raheem, what's your take on it? What's the relationship that you think with the fans? Is it what you expected? Is it better or worse than you expected? Do you think there's anything he should or shouldn't be doing? What's your take?
Jose's relationship with the fans or the players?
Well, the players and the fans, to be honest, because we're not really touching the fans.
When it comes to fans, I think that, I'm going to be honest, I think he's really soured it within the last 2 weeks. I think he's really soured it. That Sevilla nonsense was just, that's unacceptable, I'm sorry. But we've already touched on that, so I'm not going to go on about it, but that's really sour. But based on the players, Sam, you said Pogba's not playing the right position. Howson always says that Pogba always plays that quarterback position. You know what I mean, Howson? That 4-2-3-1.
Sort of, yeah. I don't like him there. I prefer him as like a left-sided number 8.
That's not Pogba's position. I know it's the midfield, but that's not Pogba's position. Pogba is a centre mid forward. You centre mid and you go forward. Honestly, I'm not surprised. I'm going to say I'm not surprised that he's how can I say, ticking people off already. It's his second season. He did that with Chelsea. Am I wrong? He did it with Real Madrid. He did it with Real Madrid in his third. He ticked off the core Real Madrid. He ticked off 7 players of Real Madrid in one season. Casillas, Ronaldo, Sergio Ramos. Who else did he tick off? Benzema. And I'm honest, like, are we really surprised that he's ticking off players already? If you can win the league with Chelsea, and then 3 months later they despise you, what did you do in the summer? Because let's be honest, when it comes to that, was it his third season with Chelsea in his second spell? We could all know that within those first few games they didn't want to play for him, and now that's why I was hoping that he'd win the league in his second season, because I don't think he's going to last over 4 years. I know he won't. I actually know he won't. And I'm going to be honest with you boys. I want someone to interview Pogba and say, are you happy? Because if the answer is no, Mourinho has got to go, because I'm not going to lose Pogba again. I love Pogba too much. How many Pogbas are there in this world? 1. How many?
There's at least 3 in that family.
Okay, how many talented Pogbas are in this world? 1. How many good managers are there? There are plenty. Honestly, guys, there are only a couple of players that, when it comes to Martial, I'm going to be honest with you. Martial, I love that boy. I love that man. I swear that man is going to be a star. People say he's not going to surpass Thierry Henry. I think he's better than Thierry Henry at this age. I honestly think. With the right man, honestly, in my personal opinion, age 21, if someone plays in the right position, I honestly think he'll be God. I honestly do. When it comes to remember when Frank de Boer said that it's a shame that Rashford plays under Mourinho? He's right. Let's be fair. And let's be fair. If Pogba was under Pep's, if he was playing for Man City, would Pogba not be a star by now? Of course he would be. It's only fact. If Pogba was with Pep, he'd be a star. And when it comes to this Luke Shaw, look, I love Luke Shaw, but I think that injury just ruined his career. When it comes to Daley Blind, I think he's leaving the summer. Look, when it comes to Mourinho, I'm not surprised that he's ticking off players, because he does that with every club he's been with, except Inter Milan. I think he left there with a good record. He just left. But I just see it, if you're going to tick off Chelsea, players, a club that sees you as a legend, that they literally love you there, and if you're going to tick them off, not once, but you're going to tick them off in 2 spells, and then go to Real Madrid and tick off 7 players in 3 years, of course you're going to do that to United. I'm not surprised. I didn't think it would be this quick, but yeah, I'm not surprised. And it's only a matter of time before he takes off just a couple more players, and then bye-bye Mourinho. That's my personal opinion.
Right then, it's time for the 30-second round. We're going to go in the same order as we went before. You have 30 seconds, and in that 30 seconds, you're going to make your argument, and this is basically going to be where I decide who has won this little debate. Now, you can say you want to see us sack him. You can say you want to see us look for somebody else to bring in after a certain amount of time. Whatever you want to say goes in this. This 30 seconds is going to be the key for you, so I'm just going to get my timer out. John, you're going to take us off first. You've got 30 seconds starting now.
Jose Mourinho has brought us stability, and I think that's the key factor. On the pitch, it hasn't looked good. On the pitch, the performances have been dry, but we're getting points. We're moving forward up the table, and this is the progress that we're seeing. We need to improve on the pitch in terms of the performance and the display, but overall, it's not looking good. Off the pitch, he needs to improve his press conference approach, period. It's bad for the fans. It's bad for the press. It's not good. Relationship with the players, if that's what's going on behind the scenes where he needs to publicly slate players, then so be it.
Time.
That's it.
Oh, pretty succinct. Like it. Pretty good. Scott, are you ready?
Yeah, why not? Let's go.
30 seconds starting now.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a world of, like I said before, 24/7 media. We're the only club that matters. I mean, most of the stories that we hear are, well, let's face it, they're BS. But the reason why all these stories are taking traction is because we're divided on the manager, and that's the only thing. Let's give him one more season. Let's see what he does in the summer. I guarantee, I don't guarantee, but I think this year City is a fluke, and next year we'll go for it. We'll go for it.
Time. Raheem, you ready?
Sure.
30 seconds starting now.
Is there progression? Yes. Is it slow? Yes. I would give him one more season, but I'll have Uncle Carlo on speed dial just in case anything goes wrong. The fact is, losing the league in December for 2 seasons in a row is not good enough. So I need to see improvement next year. But honestly, I'll give this season a 7, just a 7, if we win FA Cup. So yeah, one more season, Mourinho. Let's go.
Do you know what, lads? You basically all said the same thing.
Yeah.
You basically all said the same thing, and I think that's what a lot of United fans feel at the moment. I think a lot of United fans are like, there has been progression, but sometimes it's just not good enough. Sevilla was unacceptable, and the press conference after it was completely unacceptable. I think that soured a lot of relationships. I said it myself, and I've seen other United fans saying it. That was strike one. That press conference, he could have changed our opinion of how that game went with a better press conference. He came out fighting in the following press conference, but then the performance that the team put in, now is that on the team? Is that on him? Is that on... I don't know. But there's something not right, and there's a lot of questions at Manchester United. I can't pick a winner in that debate because they all debated well, and they all basically made the same point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it to you guys at home. You can let me know in the comments, but I think you can also get up here and you can vote on who you thought won that debate. Like I said, I think there was very little in the arguments from all the lads. Everybody saying, got to give him another season. Scott made a good point. Now, this is probably a fluke season for Manchester City. Yes, they was third last season. They bought an entire new backline. That's turned them into champions. The football they played this season is nothing like the football they played last season. So there's a chance that can happen for United as well. I think we've lost Scott. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Thanks to these lot. Make sure you go and give all them lot a follow on Twitter or wherever you can find them, if you can find them. Subscribe to Full Time Devils. Make sure to get on Twitter as well and hashtag FreeFTD. It's been 6 days. We're still not back. We are about to riot. I've got pitchforks and all sorts ready to go. Who's joining me? Let's have it. FreeFTD. See you in a bit. Laters.